Well, we'll just pause when someone comes on it, no problem. This is real life here.
Yeah.
We've
We're
learned
all
anything.
too familiar about
Oh,
technical
man.
difficulties.
Oh, yeah, that's what keeps it interesting. Okay, now I'm gonna make this big and share screen. What they say that time on task equals is better than talent every time. Got that covered.
I'm gonna, Jill, Lisa, Rhonda, Angela, I'm going to go email you the handout that she has, that way you have it.
Okay, hi everybody.
Hello.
So thank you guys for coming and joining this class. This is kind of exciting since you guys don't quite know me. So my name's Patrice Sandstrom and I'm actually from Houma. So I grew up here and my entire family is here, and I moved to California when I was 21. Moved back actually and started a coffee shop in Thibodeau before that was trendy. Starbucks was opening their first one and I thought that would be cool to move back here. And when my kids were 5, we ended up moving back to California because I wanted them to experience public schools in the Bay Area. So shortly thereafter, I ended up being a single mother in one of the most expensive cities in the world, actually. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? And I was like, well, what the heck? I was actually a college dropout. I was a geology major and wanted to be a volcanologist, which sounds incredibly exciting, but didn't make sense with being a mom. And so I found myself at 30, again, in one of the most expensive areas with nothing to do. So I got into real estate, and thankfully with that good old Louisiana work ethic, worked really, really hard. And now I have a team. I always call it a small team, but I think it's probably not that small. I just hired a team manager. I have a full-time admin. I have a full-time virtual assistant. And then we have a part-time listing concierge who takes care of our staging with us. And then I have 5 buyer's agents that work with me. 4 of these people actually just joined in the last few months. Strangely enough, COVID has been obviously an obstacle and an opportunity. And I think that's one thing that is unique about me is, again, I'm a small town girl, as you know. I'm from Doulard, so people made fun of me growing up most of my life. Didn't expect to be very much. And so I always just worked harder than the competition. And I was always afraid of everything, and then I just always jumped in. So I think, again, I think that was part of the value in the class is really, hopefully I inspire everyone to just go out and try something new. I joined Keller. I've been doing this, so real estate for 15 years, and then I joined Keller Williams about 6 years ago, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. Thought I'd have my own brokerage, and next thing you know, here I am building a team. Didn't want to take bold or any classes. If you told me that if I joined Keller Williams, I'd have to take a class, I would have said no. And then eventually someone stuck me in a bold room and I was like, oh my God, it just changed my life. So I went from really getting a lot of referral and open house business to being open to trying new things. And so for the first time, I tried door knocking and expireds and for sale by owners. And I just started getting all of this business. So I think they say the average in bold is that people do 14 deals through bold, and in California, because we have a higher price point and we're lazier and everybody, I don't know why, but it's a joke, is probably about 5. And I ended up with 13 pieces of business actually through bold, and most of it was stuff I'd never done before. And for sale by owners is one of them. I will say that this isn't a practice that we use a whole lot in our area because thankfully for us, most people do choose to hire a realtor. So we don't have a really big for sale by owner market. But I'm a relationship building agent, and I think that the for sale by owner really focuses on that because I think that it's really just that connection that you build with someone and that trust. So I'm hoping that you'll get value from the class, and I'm also hoping that it'll be interactive. So, oh my God, we worked really hard to get this clicker working, so I better use it. Oh, we got someone coming in. Hello. Whoops. So my only request is that we participate. So I love teaching. This is one of my favorite things. And as you can see, I'm always a nervous wreck. Again, like I said, I'm always scared of everything, but I just jump in anyway. And I'd say that my best style is really to be interactive. So I'd love for you guys to participate. I don't know everything about your market, so I would love some sharing back and forth because I'm hoping to learn just as much as I share. And so that's my only request. Lots of participation. First of all, does anyone have any questions? Okay, so we will have a real live experience because Linda is actually going to have, you have a for sale by owner appointment this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm bringing a buyer to see a for sale.
Okay.
So.
And first of all, so did you called on that, or did your buyer find it and then you just said, I'd love to show it?
We kind of work as a team.
Okay.
She is far better at that than I am. I always say she's more approachable than I am. Both on the phone and in person. So she did the calling and I'm bringing the buyer. It's my buyer, so I'm gonna bring him over there.
Wonderful.
So I called him and I told him who I was and I said, hey, this is Jane Bourgeois with Keller Williams Realty. And I have a
Wait, hold on,
client."
Jane. Can everyone at home hear Jane, by the way?
Oh, boy.
Yes, okay. Continue, Jane. I just want to make sure.
So I said, this is Jane Bourgeois at Keller Williams Realty. I said, I have a buyer who is showing some interest in your home and I'd like to know if you'd be willing to work with a realtor. If I could bring a buyer to you, would you agree to pay a commission? And she said, of course. Well, let me talk to my husband. So yeah, that's where that went. But we got the appointment.
Okay, and did she ultimately agree to pay a commission if
She
you
did.
do? Excellent. And is that 3%? Is that about what you're
Oh,
expecting?
no.
We started at that,
We
but
started at 3, but they
Your
were
husband-
hardballing.
Okay.
So
Husband,
we just took the
yeah.
one.
he's
One.
real hardcore and he thinks that, you know, that his house is 3 times the price that it should be. And
Oh my God, he must be the only one who's ever felt that way.
Yeah.
So he's
How are we gonna deal with that?
He's the typical excessive for sale by owner
Okay.
that we've seen, so.
Excellent. Well, that brings us to who they are, right? So first of all, you guys, I just want to say, this is not my material. You'll hear some stuff, of course, and I'm hopefully to share. I'll be able to share some things that are unique about me. But a lot of this material comes from Keller Williams classes. So a lot of it's from the 36-12-3 class, and they talk about for sale by owners and expired. So you can find this on KW Connect. And then also one of my favorites, which I did use through Bold, and I find it's been great, is the problem presentation script. So I did make a little packet, so you guys do have some scripts. There's some information that you can follow along. I won't get way into the scripts, although we will share a video on that. But first of all, who are they? So for sale by owners. Again, you guys seem to have a lot of them. Does anybody want to share kind of why do you think that's so prevalent here in the good old
People like
South?
their money.
I think that's definitely part of it. I also think that we're a culture that we think we can do anything. I don't know about you guys, but like,
Yeah.
I got it all, right? I think I can do everything that we have. So there's definitely that. I just wanted to kind of show this stat and hopefully everybody can see that. Most people, is just what you said, they just don't want to pay a commission. Sometimes people sell it to friends or neighbors, which I'll bet happens a lot here. So my parents built their home before I even moved in. So I'm going to be 47 a week from today. So 48 years they've been in their house. So if you were farming that area, you probably would have wasted more than your commission would be, for sure. But it does seem that people don't move quite as much. 8% don't want to deal with an agent, and that's one of the stats I have in the packet. So it really just talks about, I think people are always worried that they just don't want to deal with an agent. You did make that phone call, for sure. But only 8% just don't want to deal with an agent. So that means, yes, if we're calling 100 for sale by owners, probably 8 of them are not going to be necessarily polite. I think that's one thing that we all need to be very realistic in real estate. And I've learned through taking bold classes, whether it was standing in a parking lot talking to strangers and being bold, knocking on doors or making phone calls, usually about 3 out of 100 have some interest or a referral for you in real estate, right? So we're talking about maybe 8. So if you work with 100, how many for sale by owners do you guys, does anybody know the stats about how many do you think are on the market now? Just a guesstimate. 10?
I've got a search set up in Zillow and I get 1 to 3 a day.
Wow. So we're talking about between 30 to 90 a month that you're potentially.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, there's a huge opportunity here. So just so you know, 8 of those may not be polite. And yet 92 of them could be really great, or 87 or whatever the
I think
number
the
is.
other tough thing that we probably come across around here is everybody knows everybody, and a lot of real estate agents around here just the for sale by owners are family or friends or.
Yeah. That is so true. I came in here the other day and worked for a minute. My mom's like, did anyone know me? Mom. Seriously, everywhere I go, people
That's
do.
what
Of course.
her saying that is true. A lot of times, like even with this one, we got, oh, well, we're gonna sell it ourselves, but if we do list it, so-and-so, which is our cousin, is a realtor, or so-and-so that we went to school with.
Our
is a
fourth
realtor.
cousin. And
Yeah, my fourth cousin on the IT left side.
Oh my God, I love that. So we don't have quite as much in California because we have so many people that are moving from everywhere, but everyone has gotten their real estate because they think that this is easy and free money. And our average commission is about $20,000. So people are like, oh, I'll go get my license. It's free cash. And I'm just going to sell to Harry, Tom, Dick, and Harry. So we have about 22,000 agents in our marketplace. However, only the average agent only sells 4 houses a year. So there are very few professional ones. And I would wonder, again, that may be something to ask that question is, excellent. Can you tell me how many houses does your cousin sell a year? Oh, that's interesting, right? Because you always have to get back to those questions, you guys, because anytime, and I have that on my packet, it's whoever's asking the questions that's in the control. And I think that's kind of what we need to flip is the control. So I have all of this about the for sale by owners. And again, this is from 3612 and 3. Obviously, do you guys find that your for sale by owners are pricing your homes in line with the market or no? So you find that they're pricing them over or under? Over. So they all have exactly the same mentality where they're thinking that it's.
I love that Zillow estimate.
And then the hard thing is that they're already overpriced. So then when you're gonna come and drop commission into the works, they already think that they should be getting this. And like, you can't overprice even more. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So how many days on the market does a home that's sold by a realtor last?
I think the average right now is 80 something days,
Yeah.
84 days, 86 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take your face.
I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. Okay. And then for
Is
sale by
that a
owners,
lot? Do you think that's a lot?
for us, it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're in a different market. And has that changed? Because obviously one of the reasons that we came in and we're having this topic is because you guys don't have a huge inventory. Is that correct?
Right.
You don't have a
Right.
lot to
Wasn't
work.
it like 120 days before
Yeah,
COVID stuff?
yeah.
It
Wow.
was
Okay.
120 days, they
And
were
we-
down in that low 80s now.
And we got into this
Maximum
period
to
where they couldn't stay on the market. Like I was writing offers in my car because I had multiple offers. Like they did have a period where,
It was
but I find right
short.
now, Joe and I was talking about it the other night at our Christmas party. It's like or was it Jeff? We just don't have good listings. Like there's good listings, but they're just not.
Quality.
Like I even have some listings my own, and it's like I'm like stuck between a rock and a hard place of where to. I know this is off topic, but like
To be honest, I think it's all on topic. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
because
is
you
the
do
reality
for
of it.
sale by owner. Like, because it's our job to tell them, well, I think you can do this, and it'll help you sell. And so you get stuck in a rock and a hard place. Like, how far do you go with that to your client without making them feel uncomfortable in their home? You know?
Bad, you know.
I'm very good at that, actually.
Yeah.
That's one of my specialties is I tell someone that they have to change everything about their house and then I ask them to give me about $30,000. And if you do that with a Southern accent, just kidding, I don't know. I really think I should have started with a Southern accent. Actually, that would have been great. So we'll just go through again, we're talking about, we have a lot of challenges with the for sale by owners, no question. And I think all of these points that you brought up are valid. Does anybody think there's anything that we missed on there that we should be considering for struggles with the for sale by owners? Okay, so I always find, again, life is full of obstacles, and there's always an opportunity in there. So I just kind of want to say in there, and I have on my paper because I've got to put my glasses on. Sorry, you guys. So what's the benefit of a for sale by owner business? I mean, they're literally raising their hand, like begging for someone to sell their house. We're talking about there's an inventory and we could look all over creation and try and do door knocking. We could do the farming and we can make all of our regular cold calls. And those things work. Again, I'm a relationship agent. However, there's very few opportunities that are immediate business the way that for sale by owners, and to be quite frank, expired are as well, right? They're kind of the same thing. I've tried some expired listing business and I've done okay on that business. What I find is sometimes challenging is that it's harder because a realtor has already usually given them some value. And so oftentimes it's almost always price that it didn't sell. A lot of times it's presentation. But for sale by owners, there's really so much opportunity, you guys. Would you guys agree that that is just like your biggest opportunity?
Yeah.
I mean, they're really raising their hand. It'll be something interesting, and I don't know if we'll have time, and maybe we could talk about after the class, is really about that commission and just kind of when they're offering 1%, it's a little bit tricky. But I think that would be
1% or nothing,
so.
you know?
That could possibly be, but I would wonder, okay, this guy's been sitting out there and you have a buyer. If you have a loyalty, I don't know if you guys do buyer broker agreements here. If you have a buyer broker agreement with that buyer has to work with you, right? hopefully in the buyer broker agreement, it does say that you should get a minimum of a 2.5% commission or something similar, whatever your average is here, right? If that's the case, then you actually own that buyer, right? So really that person is a fool not to work with you. Now, for sale by owners, that's definitely a practice that should be enacted here.
You need to share your screen.
Oh, shoot. What happened?
I think
Occasionally
sometimes,
the internet drops out and it
Like,
stops
oh,
sharing.
Sorry, everybody. I was like, what do I do? My clicker? Uh-oh. Sorry, everybody. And I don't even know how to do this again. Okay. I think I have to click on more. Share screen. There we go. Sorry, everybody. And I want to say Facebook land, but in the end, at home. Okay, excellent.
something
Are we
else
back
too,
on?
and I guess it's maybe us kind of rolling over, but like with this buyer, with this for sale by owner, we have a buyer that's coming that she has a house to list. So you kind of, you know, I may get one out of this, but I'm gonna get 3 out of this. So,
Or potentially 5 or 6, right? If you're coming on the other side.
yes.
So you guys, one of the things that I've worked on a bit is to stay out of judgment of myself and for everyone else. It's always a tricky thing. And I
Yeah.
think it's great for us to have that. And you're right. You started with, you know, are we shortchanging ourselves? I think we all shortchange ourselves. I think we
Yeah.
all get in these same situations. And I think it's great that we say that. And there's definitely, I remember I watched Ryan Serhant with Millionaire Real Estate. I went to one of his classes, and what I love and what I always remember, he's like, I'm not ever going to walk away from a deal on commission, right? I'll make the deal work if it's worth it for me financially. So there's definitely those situations where the deal is worth it financially. The trick is that as realtors is we don't want to give it away before we even know if it's worth it, right? We have to know, and we have to like have that kind of that suit of armor on, like we're protecting ourselves from the beginning so that you can feel confident enough to have that negotiation. Like, okay, sir, here's the deal. This is what my fee is. My fee is 2.5%. Now, at some point, if my buyer likes this, you and I may get into a negotiation, and I may have to come down to 1% of that commission if it's going to be to make the deal work for you, for my buyer, and because they're selling another house. But before I even get there, I just want to know that you might be even open to a full commission, right? Because let me just tell you, sir, any agent that has these buyers, and we'll kind of talk about that today in the problem presentation, and has this kind of serious buyer, is going to expect this type of compensation, right? And we always prefer to say compensation instead of commission, because commission just sounds kind of a little bit more gritty and big, right? And you guys, we're compensated well, typically. We also do a lot of work for what we do, right? Okay, so benefits of for sale by owner business, you guys are raising their hands. They're needing everybody and they're trying to get everywhere. We all know that, and I'm a premier agent on Zillow, but Zillow is not what sells a house, right? It just isn't. In the Silicon Valley Bay Area, they are coming up with company after company that is trying to take the realtor out of the equation. However, there are so many variables with legal issues and disclosure issues, and again, negotiation and feelings and emotions. This is considered one of the most emotional things that you could do. They say that buying and selling a house is as traumatic as death and divorce, right? So I always say that up front to people, it's true, right? They do need someone to hold their hand. Nobody needs a realtor to buy or sell. Again, that's part of this class. The reason that they hire one predominantly over the whole country, and it may be worth actually looking at the nationwide stats, is because it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And it's definitely, again, we're compensated very well in California, and it's worth it. We get them more money over and over and over again. We just have to know our value, which, ironically brings us to number 3, which is to know your lure. Do you guys work on your lure? Do you guys know what the lure is? So I know that we have this in some of our KW tools, and it's called the language of real estate. So you can actually do a stat where you find out what the average is, how you're outpacing the market. Glenn, have you ever seen that? You might want, maybe that might be an interesting class to kind of put on there. So the LORA is a report that you can do, and you actually are going to look at what is it that is selling in our market. So when I'm looking to sell a home, I want to know, like, in this neighborhood, how many houses are going over list price? How many houses are going under list price? How many days are they selling for? All of that is so important. It's important to me, but even more importantly, like, I'm not a super hard pushy seller, but I know how to drop the seeds that are going to lead my seller into the right direction. So if you come in with these stats, you know, you talk about how they know their cousin and they know all of this stuff, but they don't know real estate, right? So if you have all of these and you know these houses in this neighborhood always sell for more, these houses in this neighborhood always sell for less, these houses sell for 80 days versus 120 days, that's the language of real estate. And so if you start paying attention to your numbers, and by the way, for new agents, you'd want to use your average in the market center, right? Or use someone else that you know, maybe a mentor or a productivity coach. So once you start calculating these numbers, you guys, this is again called the LORA. That's something that you can use to your advantage to have in the marketplace. Now, if you're outpacing, that's the number you want to show. If there's anything that's not looking great, you know, we don't share that, right? So in real estate, I would never ever lie, but I think of it like poker, right? I'm going to show the cards in the hand that I want to show. I'm only going to show what I want to show, and it's up to me, and it's my skill to give the impression, right? And to lead someone in the direction that I want them to go. So the language of real estate, again, you guys aren't using it now, but I think that would be something that would be really great if you can teach that type of class.
The MCA pulls together weekly stuff for the team meeting.
Okay.
So it's not all of those topics, but kind of the basics as far as listings taken and comparing to the region, the market.
Perfect.
And KWRI.
Okay, so those would be great numbers. And I would, especially those of you that are producing, it would be great to say, I list more homes than the average agent. I sell more homes. So for me personally, and I think my number's on there, so I sell at about 107% of the average. So that means I actually say that there's a Patrice factor, and it is true. I expect to get more for my clients, and I do. I break records on almost every house that I sell. Not kidding. My largest problem is that I can't get an appraisal to come in at my value, right? So whatever your value is, that's what it is. I've been tracking my stats, so I do pay attention. And by the way, I'm on the ALC, and only because our team leader made me start paying attention to the LORA did I even know that. I'm like, oh my God, that's pretty cool, right? So it's neat if to use these numbers. I of course say this in a listing presentation, and of course I say this like it's just the most natural thing in the whole world, and which it is. And that brings us to our second thing, you guys, which is what is your value proposition? And I think this is really kind of one of the biggest things that we have. I think your value proposition and then scripts are going to be your largest assets in having this business. So if you don't know your value and know who you are at your core, it's going to be really tricky to convey that to someone. Does anybody have like a quote unquote elevator pitch that they use when they're let's say in an elevator with someone who wants to sell their house? Anyone off screen? Do you guys have anything that someone would like to share? I'll take that as a no, although I'll wait. By the way, I did neither when I've had to go to networking things and they do an elevator pitch and I'm like, that's so tacky, right? I don't like that. That sounds unnatural. Yes, that can be unnatural. However, we all watch reality TV, you guys. We assume that that is natural, and it's not quite, right? It's kind of scripted. So we want to think of for sale by owners and scripts and all of this, in my opinion, as being scripted reality, right? Because that's really what it is. So value proposition. Number one, hopefully everybody in here feels that they are an expert negotiator. If not, there are great classes that you could take, language of real estate. There's definitely practice in all of those things. Would anybody say they're an excellent negotiator in here? A few of us. Okay. Would you guys all agree that this is a skill that would benefit you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This year I ended up taking a class and they talked, so again, lots of obstacles in COVID, and they talked about, are you going to change your goals or are you going to change who you are to make sure that you get to your goals? Okay, so we only have a couple people, for those of you not on screen, you can't quite see, who raised their hand. Who is committed to, by the end of, let's say, February, to be a pretty darn good, almost expert negotiator? So the joke about me, and I always say this about myself, and by the way, so I worked really hard to kind of get this confidence. I didn't have it for a long time, but I'm a tiger in a bunny costume. You may look, everybody is, they're my best friend. I'm very respectful. I'm very ethical, all of that stuff. Everybody feels really comfortable with me. That's my superpower. What they don't know is that I'm out thinking them every step of the way. So negotiation for me starts the minute we have a connection, when I'm calling that other agent at the very beginning. Most people have no idea that I'm negotiating them from the moment that I get there. By the way, how do I look today? Cute, right?
Cute.
Yep.
Professional, comfortable. This is negotiation, right? If I didn't look the part, you wouldn't feel like you could receive that information from me. If I didn't make you feel comfortable here, same thing. You would not be able to interact with me in this way. We wouldn't build this trust. You guys, that is negotiation, right? You guys are Southern people. You could talk to anybody. That's negotiation, right? It just may not be as strategic as you realize. So I just kind of want everybody to open their mind a little bit to something different, right? Because you guys are expert negotiators, whether you feel like you're strong at it or not. I mean, that is the profession that you got into. So I would challenge everybody in this class and on the phone that this is number one thing to do, especially if you're thinking about going after a for sale by owner, because you can beat them at this all freaking day long, you guys. They don't negotiate for a living. Yes, they may haggle, God forbid. My mom, that's all we want to do is go to garage sales all day long. So I grew up being an expert negotiator because getting the lowest price on something is like what's important in my family, right? So if you guys have ever been to a garage sale and asked for less, right, that is a common thing here, then you might be kind of an expert negotiator and not quite realize it, right? And that's really all it is realizing that you have that value. Again, you know, with that client who's like, excuse me, that seller who says, I'm not going to give you that amount. You did at least get them a little bit farther, right?
Yeah.
I would contend that if your buyer likes it, then you should put in that 2.5% at that amount, right? You at least should be asking. I'm happy to hear no all day. People tell me no all day long. I have no problem, right? It's not their job to say yes to me. It is my job to ask though. And I think that's a really, really big part, is just knowing that. And I think that, again, I think sales and negotiation, sometimes those sound like dirty words to people. And even me, like, even though I thought I was good at it, or I know I was good at it, I still would kind of like, I was kind of embarrassed by it. And I think that that's something that as an industry, and especially in our profession, that we definitely have to get rid of, right? So negotiation, number one, that is your biggest asset that a first time buyer just can't have. He just doesn't have that experience. Number two is relationships. I don't know how many people are on the phone, but we have what, at least 15 people that are paying attention to us? I can't really see. These are relationships. So you all know agents. There's 91 people. I got email addresses to send my cute little video out to. 91 agents that are looking to support you. So if you take that listing from that for sale by owner, can't you kind of allude to the fact that you have 91 people in your market center that are helping you to sell that house? That guy may know 17 cousins, but nobody is paying attention. Nobody cares about selling his house. Otherwise, they would have done it already. Right? Dude, you've been on the market for 30 days. How is cousin Rhonda doing? Clearly not that well, right? You may know everybody in town and no one's paying attention to your house. That's what I want to do for you. I want to pay attention. And not only that, I have 91 people in my market center that are going to help me do it. You know, what's also cool is we have this cool system where we actually compensate a buyer's agent to do that. You know what that means? Is that every other of the thousands of realtors in our market, they're going to help me to find a house. Have they helped you to find your house? Not that many of them, right? No one cares, sir. You know why nobody cares? Is because you didn't make it a benefit. When you're hiring a realtor, it's my job. You only have to hire me, and it's my job to now go out and make sure that hundreds and thousands of agents are going to actually help me sell your house. Isn't that awesome? Oh my God, that's cool. Number two is I'm a marketing expert, right? This is what I do. The cool thing about a realtor, sir, and I assume it's the same here, is you don't pay me unless I'm successful. So I'm going to cost you either zero or a commission that you're very happy to pay, because if you don't get your net amount, you're not going to sell your house, right? I can get you to sign this listing agreement, but there's a lot more to do and there's a lot of paperwork to sign. I can't make someone sell their house. So sir, you only have to pay me if I give you exactly what you want. Isn't that great? Wow. Are you saying that I'm actually going to be paying for the marketing and you may not even sell your house? Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm taking that risk. To be honest, sir, that's why realtors are compensated so well. We're business professionals, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do all of this work. I'm going to spend all of my money. I'm going to spend all of my time. I'm going to call everybody that I know. And by the way, I'm from here, so I got a lot of cousins too, right? If you want, I'll make sure that my cousins are working harder than yours are, because quite frankly, you've been on the market for 30, maybe 300 days, and those suckers aren't doing anything, right? I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to charge you anything, not a penny, until you actually get the results. Is there any way to lose in that?
You want to sell my house?
Not bad, right? Can't even see, I'm like, wait, the funny thing is my whole career, I'm like, I don't like scripts. I don't like scripts. I'm like, oh, scripts are just saying kind of the same thing over and over to get people to go in the direction I want. I get this. But you can see, and by the way, you guys, a lot of those are just seeds of the same things I literally say again. You could tell, right? I delivered it well because I say it again and again and again. So I just want to plant that because I think that scripts will really be important, and I think it'll be a really nice tool. So we'll talk about that. So value prop, the other thing is that you talked about before, I'm sorry, what's your name in the back?
Danielle.
Danielle, you talked about before is like, ugh, some of these houses, they don't look that great, right?
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I sell pretty houses all day long. I like them all to be pretty. When I go in, they're right. Some of them are actually really nice. Fantastic to live in. There is a difference between living in a house and selling a house. And that's the difference. And that's the way that you have to present it so that you could say, we stage almost all of our houses. So number one, I either pay for staging or I have an entire inventory and my team actually stages it a little bit. Every time I walk into a house, and I mean every time, I'm not doing anything to sell it. I want to sell it as is. I want to get top dollar. Great. Would you like to sell it as is, or would you like to get top dollar? Because you're not going to get both, right? It's kind of like someone's like, I want a cheap, reliable contractor that gives great service. Excellent. Can you pick two of those and tell me which ones are most important? You're not going to get an as-is house and the most. It's just impossible. What I can show you is a spectrum of how you get to choose kind of where we are. We can come up with a budget. And what I'm going to do with you today is we're going to walk through, and I'm going to see your house through the eyes of the buyer. By the way, that's full script. I'm going to see your house through the eyes of the buyer. And just so you know, I see things that people don't even pay attention to. So don't take it the wrong way when I'm pointing things out. You can come to my house and trust me, we're going to see all of these things that I'm pointing out in mine as well. So this isn't about your house. What this is about is that the best buyers who are going to spend the most amount of money, they all watch those TV shows that you watch, right? They're all perfect. This is what they're looking for in a house. The closer I can get your house to having that look, and most importantly, that feeling, that well-maintained feeling, that's how we're going to get the most money out of them. So sir, I give your permission for us to walk through together so that I can point out what those things are. And by the way, don't do that until you sign the lease agreement. This one is a fool over here. I can't tell you how many times I gave away the milk and the cow did not sign up, or however it works out. I have done it before where I've gone in that house and I'm like, oh, people are going to take my value. Yes, sometimes they take all of my suggestions and I had to hire them. And then hire a discount broker. Are you insane? That doesn't happen very often. It's very rare that I lose those, but it does happen. So learn from my lesson. Don't do that. But you do want to tell them that you can, right? And it doesn't hurt to point out a couple of things. There's things like, you guys, people put nails in walls all the when it comes out though, like it doesn't look good. So it's kind of gross. It's kind of like that, right? You want a dessert. It can't just taste good. Your house is great, excellent bones. You've maintained it well. We need the icing on the cake, right? We need it to look just a certain way. And so those are the kind of words that you want to use. And they're usually pretty non-threatening. And you really want to make sure you are right in their eye and that you own that. You are just sitting there Wonder Woman style, or the guys, you guys can be like He-Man or whatever. I don't even know if anybody says He-Man anymore. Superman. And you got to really make sure you own it. And you can't do that. There's no gray area, right? Everything in life is gray area. But when you are being direct with someone, it's, sir, here's the deal. This is not going to be easy to say, and there's a script for that too. If I'm saying something that makes you uncomfortable, then you know it's true, because I want your business, to be quite honest. And I know I'm compensated well. And so this is going to be somewhat uncomfortable. And the reason that I'm telling you is because it's important. Because when sellers get the most amount of money, it's because we dot all of our I's and we cross all of our T's. So when you're hiring me, you're going to get someone who is going to go through, and I have a meticulous eye. You're not going to like hearing it half the time. That's okay. The reason that we're doing it is because it's important. And when we do these things, your house will be more valuable than the market. No question. You're going to be better than the neighbor. You're going to be all of those things. You look at the picture and you can see some things in the picture, but it's really that attention to detail that makes difference. And people will overpay for a house that has good attention to detail, right? And then the other thing, I know you guys don't do staging. So one of these times when I'm back, I would love to go through and kind of maybe even do a walkthrough with someone at a house and have this exact conversation, because I am the queen at this again. I literally, my coaches are always like, can you just sell it regular? I'm like, I can't, they have to all look pretty. Like it really makes a difference. I like breaking records. It looks good. It looks good for me, right? It does take a lot more work sometimes, but, and do we lose, sorry guys at home, I see we lost our screen again. And you guys also missed me jumping up and down, which happens on listing presentations too. This is real life. Okay, screen share.
I have some technical issues.
I don't know why it says, I'm trying to go back to screen share.
Did you get that? Okay, just
We
hit
keep
share.
losing it every once in a while.
Just hit share.
Yeah, it just pops out.
And it should be
Sorry,
good.
everybody. Okay, we're back on. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about value proposition, or does anyone want to share anything that they may have used in a for sale by owner presentation? By the way, you guys are not going to use that today, right? Like, so this would be something that you would follow up with later.
Yes.
So obviously, but do pay attention, and when you're there, do look at it with an eye, because this would be great for a conversation. If your buyer doesn't buy that, it's, hey, thank you, Bob, for coming. I'm really grateful that I got to show my clients. It doesn't quite work for them. I would love to come back and have a talk about why it didn't work for these particular buyers. If you'd like to hear, it can be a value to you. To be honest, I'd love to get your business if it works out. If not, that's okay. I'd like the opportunity to show you what I see from a professional's eyes and what almost every buyer is going to look at, right? Can you see where it's using that to go back for another employment?
Yeah.
And then you really stand firm. And then it just gets to be, sir, this is what happened. You know, great house. You have a nice view, whatever it is. There's always got to be, Mo Anderson has the velvet hammer, right? So it's like soft and gentle. Get them in the middle, and then a little soft and gentle. So you definitely want to compliment them, right, in the sandwich. But when you're in there, you got to make that direct. There's no pussyfooting around, right? It's very, very gentle. Thank you very much. I'm glad you came in. These are the things I liked about your house. And then, yikes, these are the things that if you were working for me, I can promise you that we wouldn't have been able to come on the market quite yet, because your house isn't quite in selling condition, right? It's a great house to live in. I'm sure you have fantastic parties here. I'm sure you impress all of your friends. But what you have to understand, sir, is the psychology of having a house that's lived in and a house that's being sold are completely different, right? When a buyer comes through and it feels like your home, awesome. They're loving, thank you. It smells like gumbo in here. I love that. This is awesome. LSU, go Tigers, whatever you got going on. Sir, what I need you to understand is if you want a buyer to buy your home, and especially for top dollar, you need for it to look like it might be their home, right? That's something that we can work on together. This is something I specialize in, is making it look like what today's buyer's looking for. And I say that all the time. The modern buyer, the ones that are going to spend the most money, the best buyers are looking for a certain brand, right? You can have polo shirts all day long. The polo guy, when you have the proper polo and it says Ralph Lauren in the back, that thing's 3 times as expensive. Everybody in the room has done it, and certainly your sellers have as well, right? Or these same sellers. You have to make them understand that I can make it up. I can turn it into a Ralph Lauren. You got a polo shirt, sir. Great. You know, it's got the little short sleeves and the little collar. It's got 3 buttons here. All that stuff is fantastic. I'm a specialist in making that a Ralph Lauren shirt. And people are going to pay more for that kind of thing. And I've absolutely used that. And you can choose something different, but it really is true. Do you guys agree with this?
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying anything that doesn't make sense? No, it's all true. It really is that spectrum. And I say this all the time to my sellers, is like, here's the deal. I meet a buyer and this is their price point. This is okay. I want to only spend, you guys don't even want to hear where my numbers start at, of course, but I want to only spend, let's say 300,000, right? Okay. However, if I found the right house, right? That's what they all say. But if I found the house of my dreams, I'd pay 400 grand. Your job is to make them go from this number to this number. And this, you guys, that's the this is something only a realtor can do. That's something that only a really good professional can do. Because if they're thinking with their brain, they're spending $300,000. And this is Louisiana, we are some stubborn people here. So we will go down if we have to all the way at the end and fight for it. However, if you gave me a house that I really believed was my dream house, I'm spending up all day long, right? And so that's what you really need to get that. And again, I say that and I make sure to do the hand motions, right? Diana Costa talks about that a lot in both too. And kind of show, and I can get them to spend here, and I do that all day long. And there's only one way to do that, and it is going to take some work on both of our parts. And I'm a professional, and I'm happy to guide you. Sign here, press hard, right? Yeah. I've never been in a market where we had to sign here, press hard, but they say that in all the classes, so I'm trying to sound professional. Sorry for you guys. I don't even know if I'm clicking through the proper slides. Are you guys following us over there? Do you guys actually have my sheet? Anyone? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, goody. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so let me just make sure we click through the slides. And again, you guys, these slides are from 3612.3. Oh, no. Okay, we're going to go to mouse. We're going to go to this.
Are you in the presentation or Zoom?
Oh, what? Okay. Oh, here we go. So I'm just going to click through the slides and see if you guys have any questions. So again, this is on the 3612.3. This is all on the KW Connect. So, and then again, it kind of talks about, here are your steps. I don't quite have all of this stuff to say, but I do, again, I think it's important for you to know what you're going to say. And I don't think you have to know a presentation. Like, I'm just not that. If I had to come out and just say a specific script, I would be so uncomfortable. Holy moly, right? And if I'm not me, then everybody's uncomfortable, right? It's just different. Do I feel comfortable in here today? I'm actually having fun. Are you guys having fun? Okay, right? This is important, right? To build trust, you have to have that. So, however, at the same time, I do have some points that I want to make sure that I hit, and there is a path and a goal at the end of it. And I think that's how we want to see those, which brings me right to, if I've done this right, scripts. Yay! You guys, I have lots of, okay, it talks about doing an 8x8. I don't know what you guys can do right now, right? I don't know what kind of mailing and door knocking and all of this other stuff. I do know that you can get on a phone with somebody and you can make a phone call.
We can do pretty much anything.
Oh, nice. We're very strict over there. So I'm not going to make you guys do an exercise because I'm hoping that I'm hoping just to inspire you guys to do that later. So this is kind of the last slide. I do think that this is important, is this follow-up piece. I think that's the most important. This for sale by owner closing, from my experience, and again, maybe I'm just not that good of a salesperson, I'm certainly not a hard closer, is that this is a relationship that you're building. This isn't one of those, these guys are not going to sign with you on like the first phone call. Like, oh my God, thank God. I was hoping a realtor would call me. That's why I've been out here doing this. I would love to pay you a commission. That's a great idea. What do you charge, 6? Oh, excellent. I can't wait. Do you want to just DocuSign that, or are you going to come over? No, they're not going to say that. You really have to have them in your database. And whether it's an 8x8 plan or whatever, this is like you're in it for the long haul, right? This is building a relationship. So, smart plans. And by the way, I heard the smart plan class was a little light, but Clint, don't you worry. They're all going to be in here next week on your next class. I don't know if there is one next week, you guys, but I'm sure there'll be something. But again, sending the thank you note, you guys, that goes a long way. So make sure you're doing these little extra steps, and then we'll get to this later, but follow up till they list. So the next one that I have on there is just really talking, let me see where we are on time, is really talking about scripts. Again, I couldn't have run away from scripts any faster in my entire career. That's something that would feel incredibly unnatural, or that's what I believed for a very long time. Now I have a different perspective. First of all, I write scripts, so it comes, that kind of stuff, good old Southern Louisiana gift of gab, comes out very natural, and it's probably the same for you. Don't think that by saying you have to use a script that it has to be exact words of what comes from Keller Williams or whatever, Maps Coaching. There are so many to work at. You just really need to make your own script. And what a script is really just, it's like a guidepost when you're on your tour, right? You just want to make sure you can eventually get to your destination. I don't know about you guys. We could be here for 7 hours and never get to the end of this presentation if I didn't have this, because I love what I do. And this is my life, right? And, you know, we can get in there and be on the phone with these for sale by owners. And of course, you're going to know 5 of their cousins, and you're going to be talking about what happened at prom and the football game and COVID and there's all kinds of stuff. You have to make sure you're eventually going to get back to your topic. And again, not be embarrassed that you were there because you were a professional that wants them to hire you for real estate. Has anyone ever like been embarrassed to ask for business? Well, I certainly have. Right? Everyone is called sales yucky. The realtor does not always have anywhere. By the way, this is all over the world. I've actually been traveling and I know a lot of international agents. Real estate is not looked highly upon anywhere that you go. Honestly, for sale by owners happen a lot and people really truly believe that there's nothing I can do. I will tell you about a real conversation that I had. I was about to go through the tunnel. I live right outside of Oakland in San Francisco. So I was going to the Oakland airport last week, actually. I think about a week and a half ago, and I was on with a seller and he found me on Yelp and he interviewed 4 agents. By the way, he said there was no question. And we did all of this prep to get his house ready. And he literally said, Patrice, I've never seen anybody that sold a house at your price point. Where we are, 500 is kind of the maximum. And I've not only are these guys going to pay me, I get bonuses often. I've gotten bonuses over 3% before because people are so happy with the results that I've given. Swear to God. Doesn't happen often, by the way. I just put that in my little thing. Like, I'm going to start attracting the clients that pay bonus again. That's been a long time. That really can happen. And it only happens if you give value. And you guys, this opportunity is huge here. Going back to the lore, you guys, I forgot to say that is, you know, you heard me talk about how I get 107% over the average agent. That is really true. If they're getting 100% of price, I'm getting 107. So hiring me, there truly is that factor. If you guys are not seeing this and you have a for sale by owner market, you absolutely have that. And I think I have it listed on one of theirs. When you're looking at market stats and Zillow and all of those things, now I don't know how they're pricing it here because you're saying they're pricing it higher. I don't know, you guys, comps make me nervous. Every time someone says, tell me a value for the house, I'm like, oh, I've sold hundreds of houses and it still is like, oh my God, this is so intimidating. How am I going to come up with the price, right? And I'm very conservative. So I have to look at oh gosh, not again. Sorry, you guys. I don't know if is that, sorry.
It's an internet issue.
You guys heard that, not just me. Although I could potentially take credit. So, sorry, where was I? So when you're looking at the comparable, you're looking at past data. When someone's doing an appraisal, that's past data, right? Your job, you guys, and this is again going back to the value, is you have to sell a perceived value. You have to sell that dream and that fantasy. So I just want you to really just have that in your mind. When I'm sitting there talking about my numbers, yes, I am cool and I'm making sure that's known. But what I'm really saying is you guys, there's a huge opportunity. If this isn't happening on your market, it can. You guys have no inventory. What that means is that your buyers will fight for the house. They will pay 1%, 2%, or 3% more if they find something of value. Like you said, we have houses on the market. We don't have anything good. If you guys can find a way to create something good, and by the way, you're going to have to be bold to do it, right? I'm going to have to say, I'm a professional. I'm calling you and I'm calling you and I'm calling you because I believe that I can add value to your house. And what's cool about that, sir, is that I'm going to get you more than anybody else in the neighborhood can. I know your cousin said he was going to tell everybody at work. I don't know, how did that work out for you, right? Like, I don't mean to be a jerk to your cousin, but I don't think he's gotten you anything. If I can prove to you that I'm going to get you this amount of money, if I can show you that value, and I can do that within, 90 days, I don't know what your contract is here, 6 months, will you trust me to just give me that opportunity? What I can tell you, sir, is that if I don't give you the results, you don't have to pay me, right? I only get paid if I sell your house. So I just want to squeeze that in there and make everybody know very clearly that there's a huge opportunity for you guys to add value. So, sorry. You guys, there's really not much more on the slide, but I'm going to show you the next one, which is the problem presentation script. This is one of my favorite, and I've absolutely used it. Escape. No, it's not escape. I'm sharing my screen, and it's not going back to, oh, now it's clicking, of course. Okay. So I'm going to put this little video on, so You guys can hear someone other than me talking for a bit. Oh. Uh-oh, I don't know if we can hear this. Okay. Tell me when. You ready?
Are you sharing through the, say share sound?
Uh-oh. Can you guys hear over there?
We can, but you're echoing.
Okay. We
Reshare.
might need everyone else to turn their music.
Stop sharing.
Stop share. Sorry, guys.
All right, now reshare. Share and then share sound.
Ooh, okay. I think we need to turn this sound off.
So
Otherwise, we'll have an echo.
turn your volume on your computer down, and we're gonna turn it up on the TV.
Oh.
I'll leave it up on the TV.
Jane said, wait, she needs coffee.
Don't speak until I get back.
Yeah.
Can I play the video?
Yeah, whatever you want.
You guys, does anybody at home have any questions before we get to this next piece? Or comments or anything that they'd like to share? If anyone's talking, they're definitely muted. So, have you guys found any value out of this? Lisa, you're the only one I see, so I hope, okay, we have some people in the room. Oh, great, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna click play. And hopefully you can hear.
Okay.
It's not working. Can we just turn that sound off for just a minute? Yeah. Sorry, you guys, we're gonna unmute it so there won't be an echo.
Okay.
That gives me an opportunity to make it just full screen. Tell me when you're ready. All right. Okay, let's try it. You guys can't see, but my fingers are crossed. Oh, unmute.
We still can't hear. Oh. Okay, you guys, sorry. There's still an echo. Does someone else have their TV on in here? Well, how do I do that? Oh, this.
Hey, Liz, did you turn the pot off?
The bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I did my mute.
Yeah, but it's still.
So I have. So this one is still on. Don't you want to mute this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think it's touched.
It warmed up.
Okay, you guys, we think we may have a solution. Okay.
Yes.
10 inches of snow. I haven't.
Okay, you guys, we're live. You guys in Cyberland, you missed all the fun.
Open the window of opportunity with the for sale by owner by giving a problem presentation. See, a for sale by owner is not going to look.
It's still hard to hear. Can you guys hear that at all?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, good. Okay, here we go.
In this lesson, we're going to talk through ways that you can open the window of opportunity with the for sale by owner by giving a problem presentation. See, a for sale by owner is not going to.
Is the audio off on there?
Unless they know a problem exists. So it's up to us to present them with a problem. And here's May I just ask, what is the single greatest advantage to you selling your home all on your own?
Okay, so maybe I'm just going to have to do the script.
You know the answer. It's to save the commission. Yet, follow up with this question.
Oh, here's something. Okay. All right, you guys. Let's see. So can you guys hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think we can't quite have it work out. In your script package, I do have the video for this. So I'll just kind of basically, I'm going to wing this. So in general, this is called the problem presentation script. I guess we don't have a whole lot of time anyway, although I'm happy to go long if you guys will stay. But so basically what they're saying is that on an expired, you want to call them and you're working to close them. With a for sale by owner, they talk about it being a problem presentation, right? So the for sale by owner, he thinks he's got it figured out, right? He's got cousin Bob who's working it out and he's related to everybody in town, right? Surely someone's going to come over and buy that. It's on Zillow. It must be magic, right? The whole world is looking at it. The value's high. He doesn't understand why it's not working out. I don't know why he doesn't realize that like 3 months later, he's had 4 people come by. However, he doesn't quite get it, right? So what they're saying, and again, the script is actually in the package, is we need to give them a problem presentation so that we can plant the little bit of seeds. Again, negotiation starts at day one, right? I'm professional on the phone. I'm not afraid of being professional. This is who I am. I call sellers every day for my buyers and I call buyers every day for my sellers. Isn't that what you want in a realtor, right? That's the attitude that you want to have, hands on the hip Wonder Woman or Wonder Superman style over and over again. So you're going to go through this script and it's basically like, oh, you're asking them questions. Again, you're in control. So, and again, you guys, I'm winging this, so bear with me. Sir, how many people have shown your house in the last week? And you always make sure you want to say in the last week, because if you don't say in the last week, they've been on the market for the last 6 years, and they're going to tell you everybody that's been there. So, right? How many showings have you had in the last, or how many calls have you had in the last week? Oh, I've had 4. Oh, excellent. And out of those 4, how many were agents looking for, just trying to get your business? Well, 2, those freaking agents call me all the time. I know about that. That's what I do, actually. So no harm, no foul. So great. Does that mean you've had 2 direct buyers that have called you? Yes, that's correct. And out of those 2 buyers, how many of them came over to see your house? Well, 1. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. And we kind of see that a lot. Sir, what you may not know is that there are actually 4 types of buyers that we found, right? So the number 1 type of buyer is someone who's really serious, right? They have to move, they got a job transfer, all of those things. That guy is probably someone who's working with a realtor, right? Wouldn't you be in that same situation if you had to move? Would you really go rent a car, get the newspaper out and run all over creation and try and find every neighborhood? No, that would be crazy, right? By the way, I don't know if you know, sir, when you and I sign together today, we're going to sign and you're going to hire me so that I have the kind of compensation so that I can offer a commission to any buyer's agent that brings by. Isn't that wonderful? That's how I can ensure you that every agent, thousands of agents are going to be working to sell your home, right? Isn't that fantastic? Yay! The second type of person, I know I'm hoping that I'm doing this right, is a new buyer, first-time buyers, right? We hear nothing about first-time. Everybody loves first-time buyers. I can't tell you how many first-time buyers are like, I want that special first-time buyer program. I'm like, first-time buyer program? What the hell are they talking about, right? No offense, first-time buyer, as special as you are, but that guy who's got like 700 grand in the bank, has bought and sold 15 houses, believe it or not, the bank's not going to give you, who's got 3% to go down, you're not really going to get a better rate than everybody else, right? That's not, don't say this, by the way, you guys. I just like to really make a big point of things and be a little bit dramatic, which is part of my charm. You guys are missing this at home. I'm very charming. But you really want to make sure the first-time buyers all think that there's something special. There isn't really. This is just kind of a hook. But everybody hears that first-time buyer, first-time buyer. A first-time buyer has no idea what they're doing, you guys. What a first-time buyer is really looking for is somebody to hold their hand. So what I'm asking you, Mr. Seller, Mr. For Sale Buyer, how many houses have you sold, Mr. For Sale Buyer? Oh, 2. That's wonderful. In the last 50 years? Expert, right? Do you think that first-time buyer who's terrified, right? He has no idea what they're doing. If he has 2 options of holding hands, is he going to choose a professional realtor who's an expert negotiator? Looking at all of you guys in the eyes here, right? Someone who knows the neighborhood, who knows everybody that's on the market, who spends all day long calling buyers and sellers. Are they going to hold my hand, or do you think they're going to come to you, Bob? I know you've sold 2 houses, and I bet they've been spectacular, right? But I'm just asking you, right? And no offense, sir, but if you were looking to buy and sell a home and you wanted to get the best deal, would you have someone that would negotiate and fight for you? Bob, are you going to give that first-time buyer the very best deal? Of course not, right? So those guys are hiring a realtor as well, right? Okay, so that brings us to our third type. And these guys are investors, right? Everybody loves investors. I don't know if you guys watch tonight. I actually go to bed like 8:30, which is pretty pathetic. But on the rare occasion that I used to stay awake when my kids like wouldn't go to sleep when they were little is They would have all these classes about being an investor, right? And I get calls all the time. It's like, oh, I'm taking a class about being an investor. I'm happy to buy your listing and then you can do some work for me and then maybe I'll hire you, right? Investors are out for themselves. You guys may not have that here, but they're out for themselves. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. They shouldn't have to feel guilty, but they have one thing in mind, and that's their own profit. So Mr. Seller, if you have investors that are coming, right, and they're out for their own profit, do you think that you're really going to get the best deal from them? Of course not, right? How can they possibly make their own profit and give you the highest market value? It's really kind of counterintuitive, right? So that brings us to our fourth type of buyer. And these guys are the looky-loos, right? These are the people that love going to open house. To be honest, I love them actually. Looky-loos are fantastic. They fill an open house nicely because I can create an environment where it looks like everybody wants to buy the house. Like I'll keep a looky-loo in there all day long. They tell me everything about the neighborhood. They give me all the gossip. You know, I'm like, oh my God. I joke all the time with my kids. I'm like, hey, do you know anybody that wants to buy? I literally ask my kids this all the time. And they're like, Mom, you know, they're going to someone's house. I'm like, would you see if they want to sell their house? Swear to God. And they're like, Mom. I'm like, well, you know, just if they get in an argument, maybe they might get a divorce soon. They gotta, whatever it is, like you want those looky-loos. Those are excellent sources of resource for neighborhood statistics and gossip, right? Those are fantastic. So looky-loos is the other type. Don't get in that deep with the for sale owner. And then you're like, right, exactly. These are, you guys, the stories that you want to share. It's like, okay, they're never going to buy, right? What's their motivation? Did they
but you're not supposed to judge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I told my husband was sitting with me that day because I didn't have another date. So he's like, I'm gonna keep talking. Okay, so this old man and this old woman waddling, and they sit for 2.5 hours and visit.
You guys hear that on the TV?
What the heck? No problem. Just go ahead. Just sit down. Have a seat. Let's visit.
These are the kind of stories you should say. I remember when I first got in the business, I don't know about you guys, but we have pre-disclosure packets. So we have a lot of disclosure. It gets to be a lot, right? So I'm going to borrow your book if you don't mind. Like, so they used to tell us when we go to these classes that you walk in, I got to do it next to my computer, and you go, sir, this is what I do. Like, bring this to your for sale by owner. Here's one of the files that I'm working on. And then you kind of drop it. Like, this is the kind of stuff that we take care of for you because there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot of paperwork and a lot of liability, sir. Are you aware that as a seller, it's your responsibility to disclose this, that, and the other, right? Are you aware that you have to say it in a way that doesn't inflame or minimize, right? So when you're giving disclosure, there is a proper way to do that, and I'm an expert at that. So don't worry that when you hire me, I'm going to make sure to guide you through every point because there's one thing to sell your home. You love the buyers, right? Everybody wants to be on the phone. The minute the thing closes, that buyer is going to be going through with a fine-tooth comb. And if they find something that you did not disclose, let me tell you about the next phone call. By the way, they're not going to come to you when there's a lawsuit because they will hire an attorney, right? You don't want a professional? They will get a professional whether you like it or not, right? You're definitely, those sellers are the ones with the liability. So don't be afraid to kind of drop that in there. But anyway, so that's the looky-loo presentation. So number one, you've got your serious, very motivated buyers. You've got your for sale by owner buyers. Those are the ones that you want. Those both have realtors. Make sure to press on that heavy. Your investors, they're the ones, they just want to take advantage of you. And then the looky-loos, who cares? Because they're just here to waste your time. The only people that are really going to be direct and buy in most cases, right? And again, it may be a little different in Houma because let's face it, the market is trained, right? We've trained the market. This is your opportunity to untrain it. The realtors have to band together and be a little bit tougher and make sure that there's a commission on every gosh darn for sale by owner from here on out. If you guys do this as a collective unit, working from one another, I swear to God, the whole market will change. You will get that control back. You guys need to own that buyer, and that should be your mission. No question. Everybody just has to kind of band together, right? So that's the problem presentation. Those are the 4 things. And then you just really want to make sure that they know out of those 4 types, you guys, the only person who's really going to call on for sale by owners is the investor. You know why? Nobody else wants to sit around, right? The only person that wants to sit around and make those phone calls and compete with a realtor is the guy who's looking to do it for profit. He's trying to save money and he wants to save 10%. I don't know if you know, sir, but for sale by owners, we all know that you want to save money. We know you don't have a realtor. So that investor is expecting that they can negotiate at least the price of a realtor. Swear to God, every investor that I've talked about, I'm just going to go direct because I know I can negotiate your commission out. If they're going to save money on that commission, isn't that the money that you're trying to save on that commission? So let me ask you, and again, this is in the script, so you guys really should watch this. If the buyer is expecting to save that commission by taking advantage of you, and you're expecting to save that commission, how is that going to work out, right? That's the reason that this industry has been created, and that we, as realtors, are here. We're here to navigate this for you. We're here to negotiate and to do those hard things. And sir, I just want to tell you, this is what that buyer is this is what the investor is expecting to pay. You bring me on and I add all of this value from negotiation, from marketing, and all of those things. This is what they will pay. You know why I know that? Because you're not going to pay me otherwise. I won't get you to sign a contract because I know that I'm going to have to get you more than you could have by yourself. You know that, I know that, and I'm just saying, we're not even hiding that fact. If I don't do that, then I just wasted all my time and all of my marketing dollar. So do you really have anything to lose by signing this contract today? Excellent, press hard, sign here, right? So that, you guys, is the problem presentation, and he does it a lot better than I. Mine takes a long path, right? It's like, oh, there's all kinds of fun routes. I do all right. And then the next one, you guys, is just, I kind of go through on there, is just come from contribution. This cannot be something that you're looking to take advantage of people. That is exactly what they are sniffing out for. They don't trust you. You better be the kindest, most generous you that you have ever been. You are gracious, you are kind, you are patient. You listen, you don't cut them off, by the way. I have a hard time with that. I'm like, Lord, just spit it out. Just, good gracious. They're going to talk a lot. They want to sell you on their house. That's just what it is. So be prepared to go down that journey and be prepared to build that relationship, because that is the only way that you're going to get there. It is absolutely going to take time. So I would say, I mean, again, when I was doing this, and we haven't had that for a long time, it's come up with something. Give them something from your title company, or you guys have lawyers that do it here, right? I'm sure you guys have packets of like little guides, and there could be like a prep your house. Like, go and get all of these free resources and come up with a first time buyer thing. Maybe put a pack of tape in it. Come, have all kinds of stuff, some resources for handymans. Who cares? They're not using you anyway unless they trust you, right? You should be giving them some stuff and come up with a hook that they'll start thinking of you, right? You're not just going to leave that. You're building a relationship. So it's that, hey, how's it going? Or, hey, Bob, it's me again. I know. I did tell you, Bob, that I'm a professional realtor, and I'm not embarrassed to say that I spend all day, this is what I do, is spend 10 hours a week calling people. I'm going to call you into your houses, just so you know, right? Either I'm going to find you a buyer, or you're going to hire me, or you're going to find someone else, and you're going to be so impressed at how diligent I am that you're going to refer me to your friends, because you may not want to hire a realtor, and I respect that, to be honest. Our compensation is high. I get that. If you can sell it on your own, I'm here to be your support person. If you do choose to hire a realtor, I do want to make sure that it's my hand is the first one that you grab, right? I want to make sure that we're in a trusting relationship. So I will be checking on you. Don't take it the wrong way, right? If you have questions, then have them for me, because I'll call you next Monday, right? And do what you say, and don't be embarrassed about it. But again, have that come from contribution. And number 7, it's hilarious that I'm writing this, because again, I am not a strong closer. I say that all the time. I actually just hired a team manager, because I'm not good at holding my team accountable. I work really hard, and hopefully that inspires people to do what I want them to do, and it doesn't always. And this is something that I'm still in. It's always be closing. It's always getting back to that asking, because it's okay if they say no. They just have to. It's funny because, through COVID, because I'm holding my team more accountable, and heck, I have a lot more time on my hands, I am calling and I'm asking for referrals all the time. And so now it's just a regular part of me. It used to be like I put on my real estate costume and I call and make uncomfortable. Hey, well, hey, do you know anybody who's thinking of buying, selling, or renting in the next 2 years that you can refer to me? Maybe from church or work? No? Okay, that's okay. Okay, well, good to talk to you, and hang up the phone. That used to be me. And now I just ask all the time, hey, before we get off the phone, I know you're not coming to our event. Is there anybody that you can think of that might need me for the next couple of years? Because I actually just built a team. Now I'm expecting to sell 100 houses next year, and that's crazy. That's a lot of freaking houses. I have all these mouths to feed. So is there anybody that you can think of that might need me? Because to be honest, I need them, right? I can use your business. And I literally will just say it just that silly, right? Depending on the relationship. And then they're usually like, no, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh, you don't have to be sorry. You don't have to have a referral for me. I do have to ask you, right? That is my job. You don't ever have to say yes. But you know what I found is that the minute that I ask that to people, almost every time they come back and they actually have a referral within the next couple of weeks, it's like I plant a little seed. So I just want to remind you that next time I call, I'm going to expect it. And please text me if you think of someone in the meantime. And I don't always call back in 2 weeks. However, I am planting that seed. And you guys, I swear, no one has hung up on me. In fact, most of the time people giggle, and I get a lot of referrals. I've always done pretty well with referrals. I did mention I'm charming. I work really, really hard. I love what I do. I'm fun. And I always say people are spending a lot of money with me, right? So they better make sure that it's an enjoyable experience. So thankfully I've gotten referrals. I just started asking. And since June, I've had 40 people that have referred business to me. Most of them are realtors. And you guys, it's not because they gave me that referral when I was on the phone. Yesterday I got 2. And then yesterday I got 2. The day before I got 1. Unfortunately, one of my referral partners' mom passed away on Sunday. So 3 pieces of business bubbled up into my life. In fact, the guy who is giving me 2, he's moving to Austin. And so he's literally giving me his entire book of business. I met him in Bolt. He found me inspiring and charming. I did mention that. So we're going to, but again, it's that coming from contribution is what can I do for you? And it takes a long time and it's building those seeds, but that's exactly what you do with the for sale by owners too. So it's that consistency and not being ashamed about it. You can see that again, I'm very direct. If I'm like this every single day, then I don't have to feel weird because it's genuinely who I am. I ask everybody for business. I have a really big goal this year. I am not getting there without your help. And I think if you say that and you lead with it, it works well. I mentioned earlier that you have to hear 97 to 99 no's to get 1 yes in this business, right? Would you guys agree with that stat? I found that out because in Bold, oh my God, like I said, my first Bold, I was like, oh my God. I was terrified and I was like, I have to do a Bold 100. I got stuck being the team captain. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And I'm the type that I can't ask somebody to do it if I won't do it. So I thought a Bold 100 was 100 in a week. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm ever going to do a Bold 100. They're like, no, that's just regular Bold. A Bold 100 is in 1 day. I'm like, what? So I did my Bold 100 and I did all of this stuff. And I couldn't get there in time, but I wasn't going to quit. I ended up in a grocery store parking lot, accosting people as they were walking to their groceries. By the way, if you're going to accost people, the grocery store is the best because I don't know why they're a little bit nicer there. But I was very honest and I would say I have a really big goal and this is my commitment. And I committed to talking to 100 people about real estate today. So I'm so sorry if I made you uncomfortable, but this is the commitment that I made to my team and my business. I had people that cried. I had people that hugged me. I had people that laughed with me. I had people that said I inspired them. If you were honest, right? It's amazing what you'll end up with. And the same with the for sale by owners. You want the exact same thing as they do. You just want to help them, right? And then the last is just don't quit. You got to stay with them over and over again. So on our team, God, I hope this doesn't come out terrible, but it probably will, but who cares? I always say, here's the deal. You have to keep calling these people until they die, tell you to go F yourself, or sign a contract with you. And I don't really care which one happens. But that's your goal. Right? Like that's the deal. And maybe don't be quite as graphic, but it is true, right? Until they sell their house or they sign a listing contract with you, then you stay in that relationship with them. And by the way, when they sell your house, then you are so great. Oh my God, Bob, I'm so happy for you. That is amazing. To be honest, I thought you were going to need me. I'm proud that you didn't. Hey, have you ever thought about a career in real estate? Because we actually have a recruiting class on Thursday, right? But I'm going to send you a package for me because I know that you did a great job. And I think that I hope that I've proven to you how diligent I am about my business and how I'm looking for sellers for my buyers and I'm looking for buyers for my sellers. I hope I've shown you who I am as a realtor. And I would be honored that if you ever had the opportunity to refer if someone that you knew chose to have a realtor instead of going down this bumpy road. And by the way, I'm happy to be a resource until you're finished. But if you know of anybody, I would be honored if you'd give it to me. So I'm going to send you a package. I hope that that's okay. And I wish you my best. And then literally, and just leave it like that. And then put these guys in your database. Because if you've really proven yourself to them, you don't have to sell their house, right? But they know what a pain in the neck it is, right? Somebody may not want to spend 6 months dealing with this. You guys, this is a hard business. I'm compensated well. And oftentimes I'm like, I don't know if this shit's worth it, honestly, right? It's hard. It's emotional. It's all of those things. And I think, honestly, that's our value proposition. Is that I'm just willing to go through all that with you. So, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys got some value out of that. Do you guys have any questions, comments? You guys off the TV as well?
I have questions. Like, what's your normal, so you do, okay. So let's just say you're going door knocking. So you bring a pre-list packet kind of thing, and then you have like a listing packet, like you're trying to get that appointment, and then once you get the appointment, you go through your listing, and then you walk through the house once you get the listing.
So I'm very casual. Like I tease all the time and say I'm not I'm not a strong closer. I kind of don't have to be most of the time. There are definitely opportunities that I've missed, and I do want to get better at closing, and I'm going to have to use scripts to get me there because that's out of my comfort level. The idea that I make someone uncomfortable makes me uncomfortable, and then I'm not quite myself. So I like to be over prepared. I like to have a lot. So we actually have like a little pre-listing booklet that says all about us and our stats. And then of course I have flyers for whatever is in that neighborhood or a sample of some of the marketing material that I've had in the past. I actually make business cards for every one of my listings, or I did before COVID. So every one of mine has a picture of the house. It has my stats and a couple of little bullet points so that when I'm in those neighborhoods, I literally can give out a business card. So we like door knocking and we do it as a team because it's kind of fun, and that may be something that you guys can do together. There's definitely something in the energy because you're nervous as you go to the door, but if you have everybody, you literally can feel that energy. So we go out, of course I do it on social media. You guys should follow me on social media, by the way. I put it on social media. I do a Facebook Live. I do an Instagram. I'm making sure that if I'm door knocking, I may not be getting business here, but I'm definitely getting exposure. Everybody in my world knows that I'm a professional. I sell houses and I'm not afraid of anything. You got a tart challenge, I got that covered, right? So I definitely do that. And then, yeah, I bring all of that with me. And then I'll knock on the door and say, hi, I'm Patrice. I have a house that's for sale in the area. I just wanted to give you one of my business cards that actually shares some information about the property, which, by the way, they're all impressed with. Like, that shit's cool. I make a business card for every listing. So they're impressed with that. And then I go, if you think you might know someone that has a house, I actually have a flyer that I'd love to give you so that you can share that. And then of course I say it real cute. I'm like, and if you're thinking about selling yourself, I actually have a little packet that shares more information about me. And so I literally just kind of go do that over and over and over again. I keep it all with me. And typically I'm giving out all business cards, a handful of flyers, and maybe 1 or 2 booklets. And yes, I have gotten business from door knocking. I was like, what? It's like, I just knocked on your door. This stuff really works, right? And again, I don't think it matters where you go, you guys. You literally can get business. And by the way, when I was in business and when I went to the grocery store, I got 2 people's contact information. One that was going to sell, and I never got to meet with her husband, and they did hire someone else. They were in a relationship before with another realtor. And then someone else who was looking, and then his house was flooded in that hurricane. Well, he had an extra house in Houston, so he ultimately didn't get to buy another house, so it didn't work out. But out of all those people, 2 people that wanted to do real estate and 1 lady that wanted to get into the business, actually. So I really did form those relationships with people. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who those people are or where you find them. That's just the statistics. It just works out that way. They're either going to have a referral for you or business in some way. And I always say in 2 years. I'm like, who do you know that in the next 2 years, right? Because the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book teaches us that we have to do 36 touches over every year over a 2-year period, right? So I just know that out of those 99, if I'm going to be touching them 72 times, and I don't mean only figurative touching, if I'm going to be touching them, all of those, someone is going to have a piece of business, right? You're just looking to build our database, and that's a big part of Mr. Command class here, is just getting into that opportunity and the right for them to see you as a professional. That's all you want, is to make sure that they see you as a realtor, right? I don't care when you use me, but boy, when you do hire a realtor, I want to make sure that I've earned the right to be your person, right? It doesn't always work out, but most times it will. And if you keep showing up, and you guys, trust me, I couldn't have stood in front of a class like this a few years ago, maybe not even a year ago. It really does just take that. What did I say earlier? It's like time on task is better than talent over time. Don't expect to have your value proposition. I mean, it's great if you have it now. Obviously, we talked about, we don't really have our elevator pitch. But when you leave here, I hope that everyone at least considers something different and try and figure out, how can I bridge that gap, right? And it's going to build up every single time, and you'll just kind of end up with more and more stats. And again, you guys have a huge opportunity here, because in our market, I know that our values are increasing somewhere between 3 to 5%. I expect for my houses to sell from 5 to 10% more. I know that I'm better than average, and if not, it's going to change my illusion of myself. So I have to sell for more every time, right? It's my ego that helps me, and I use that to my advantage to make sure. And I will negotiate and negotiate and negotiate that person until the cows come home, right? It's like, nope, this is what I'm selling for. I don't care how many agents that it's going to take one building up to the next, that I can make sure that I'm going to get my price, right? That guy doesn't want to give you, sir, this really do wish I'd started out with a Southern accent. I think I would have had a lot more. I think it would be really nice for my California business, but it's too late now.
What's your typical script, like if you're going door knocking to for sale by owners? So say, like, it's not because you have your listing in the area.
So I like to be upfront. Like, I just don't want to feel like, oh, I just happen to be showing someone in the area. Like, that would make me nervous. So I just will say, hey, I'm a realtor. I just wanted to introduce myself. We have buyers all the time. I have a team. I have 5 people that work with me, and I've committed to finding business for them. So number 1, I would love to earn your business should you decide to choose a realtor, and I just want to be in a relationship with you. And number 2, if it does work for one of our buyers, I would like for my agents to get there, right? Because I've made a commitment to get them all to 6 figures this year. So I want to make sure that I show them every house that's on the market. So if I were to bring a buyer, would you at least be willing to pay a buyer compensation? And most people will say yes, of course. Excellent. That's fantastic, sir. Great. Now let me show you the house, and if you don't mind, I'd love to share a little bit about myself. Don't worry, I don't have like a contract in my book. You're actually going to have to ask me to come back, but I do want to share a little bit about myself, because to be honest, sir, most for sale by owners start that way, but they don't finish that way, right? They just don't. It's very, very difficult what we do. It takes a lot of money. I spend thousands of dollars on every listing that I sell, sometimes tens of thousands when it's a super high-end listing, right? I don't see that you've done that so far, and I definitely see some opportunity for you, right? Use those words. I see a lot of opportunity where we could add value to your home, and I really believe that if we marketed it, priced it appropriately, and we did these things, I believe that I could get you the money that you want and still have enough to compensate me and my partner as a realtor. Is that something you'd be open to trying? Right? And then even, great, I'll come back. Don't worry, that's as much as we'll go. Show me the tour, and then like, I'd love to come back. I'd love to come back and speak with you. Are you the decision maker on this home? Right? Is it you and your wife? Do you have an investor partner or whatever it is? You know, just keep asking them those questions, because if you can get them talking, right, they'll trust you. And you guys, the mirror and match is huge. That is definitely something that's important, is to make sure that you have that kind of that same feeling that they have. So if he's a little bit tough, then be tough, right? I remember taking a class from, oh my God, Stephen Cooley. Do you guys know him? He's a top agent, I think in one of the Carolinas or something. He's a huge guy, very Southern accent. And he is like this big, brawny guy. And I took a class at my first family reunion, actually in New Orleans. And he said, for a buyer's agent, you want to have that, you want someone to help you love the house and all of that. And when you want a realtor that sells your house, you need a divorce attorney. You want someone that is separating you from that house. I can't tell you how many times in my career that people have said, I love you and I trust you, but I'm hiring that guy because I know that he's going to take advantage of the people. And I'm like, what? I literally have had people, and it's like for a long time I wore it as a badge of honor. Well, he may have gotten a commission, but it was me that they called with all the decisions. Now I'm like, am I an idiot or what? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? I need to make sure that I know my value. Like, they knew my value, but they had both of us working and I didn't quite get it, right? So you got to make sure that you really know, but be strong when you're going with these sellers. You can't be the sweet C that you're doing with your buyers. You have to put on your, you know, your tough guy costume and go head to head, because they are already making a stand. And if nothing more, it's probably just being defensive, right? Because they know that everybody thinks that they're foolish for doing this, right? They probably heard it one way or the other. There's at least some doubt in their mind, and you just have to show them how awesome they are and kind of let them plant those seeds of doubt naturally. And then again, just ride it out with them until the time comes. And if you don't get it, you hug it out and ask them for that business, because you're not embarrassed about being professional, or you shouldn't be, right? Any more questions, comments? And again, you guys, just keep being natural and just keep asking for that business. Just tell them why you're there. It's amazing how just being honest, I mean, literally shame is my game, right? Like, I am silly, I'm goofy, I'm all of those things. I'm also a really tough, hard negotiator. And while I was trying to prove how tough negotiator I wasn't really getting as much business. Now that I'm just really regular and I put it out there and I'm vulnerable, I make a safer space so that person can consider something different, because that's what you need, right? You need for them to be in that position where they're not being defensive and they're just ready to kind of have an open dialogue. Because the longer you can keep them talking, the better chance you have of that relationship, right? Because again, if they're not going to sell with a realtor, whatever, right? You're getting script practice, you're getting all of that kind of stuff. It's another contact, you get to count them. I have to do 50 a week, so it's like, I'll take anybody I can get. It's like airport. I got like pulled to the side at the airport. I couldn't find my driver's license, so I had to be like specially, not really frisked, but they looked through all my stuff. That guy got a business card. I was like, I told this seriously. I told the guy who I got a cup of tea. I'm obsessed with Pete's tea. So I got a cup of tea. And I was like, I forgot something. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I've had like the craziest day. But don't worry, it's all worked out well. I'm always very positive, thankfully. Find the opportunities in the obstacles. That guy got a card. I'm like, and then the guy next to me in the airport got a card. Like, that's just who I am. And I used to be embarrassed about it, and I'm just not anymore. And it's amazing that now that I'm not embarrassed about who I am, right? That I'm in sales and nobody has to sign a contract with me, right? But it is my job to ask. And it is my job to put it out there. And if not, then I have no business doing this. And I don't deserve a for sale by owner. Because if I don't have the guts to actually tell them that I'm there for business, how can he ever trust me that I'm going to go and represent his house? But boy, I'm going to earn that respect day after day if I'm making that phone call. Sorry, Bob, it's me again. Hey, right? Hello. Did you sell that house yet? Oh my God, please either sell it or hire me because I've got shit to do. Sorry, guys, sorry.
I've been slacking that, but I used to, when I would mentor people, I would tell them when I first started, I just quit my full-time job. I was so stressed, just had a baby, and I was like working from like 7 to 7:30, 8 at night, and like was not making a lot of money. So I just like had it and quit. So I had no choice but to make this work. And so I was definitely a go-getter. And I don't care if I was getting my nails done, I was at Dillard's, wherever I was telling them that I was a real estate agent and asking them if they knew anyone, buying and selling.
I love that. So the only supersize that I would, first of all, you need to get back to that if you're not doing that, and everybody needs to do it. And then number 2 is, and that's something I need to work on, get their information. Don't get theirs. Like, I've had open houses and people, I'm not kidding, people hug me at open houses and all that. I'm like, that's my best friend. I'm gonna like be the matron of honor in her wedding. They never call me back. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't understand. If you don't make that first contact, the chances of them getting in touch with you are not there. However, if you just make one phone call, one text, then you'll have a better chance. You guys as realtors, we're entrepreneurs. That's 3% of the population. That means we are braver than 97%, right? We think we're scared. They're freaking terrified. They've heard terrible things about realtors. All we do is like vampires that suck commission and money out of them, and we're taking it to babies and all that stuff, right? You have to show them that you're not. And then you also have to be vulnerable enough to say, I want your business, right? I want your business, and just not be afraid of that. And when you put that vulnerability out, it's amazing how well it works. And again, business literally will rain in on you. It's like, oh my gosh, this stuff really works. Sorry about the cursing. I teach classes in New York, and they curse right back and forth. Sorry, Southern Charm. Sorry, Mom.
You said that one of your not your strength is in closing. So, like, does that mean you negotiate all to the end and then it falls off, or like?
So again, so sometimes
that for some reason, like I get all the way and then bam, like I fall off the cliff. So I don't know if I'm.
So that's where you just need to script practice. You're going to have to practice that, and you're going to have someone, maybe an accountability partner, and go, Mary Sue, here's the deal. The next time I come back from one, it's your job to ask me, did I close that? You just need the pressure, because you probably would be great at it if you've done it. And you need something that you're more afraid of than actually asking for that closing, right? And just having that guide. What I did, which was helpful, is I actually made like an outline. I love I always like to have my hands full, right? I always bring a lot of stuff. So having an outline, and it literally says, sign the contract, swear to God. So it says like, talk about this, ask these questions, blah, blah, blah. And so it says, sign the contract. So it makes me feel like, oh, I don't want to skip the end, right? Yeah. So I literally made an agenda, and the agenda says sign the contract. And so then it's like, okay, great. All we have left to do now is sign the contract, right? Is there anything, and of course the real scripts are, is there any reason that you wouldn't want to hire me today? Is there any objection that you have, or any questions I can answer that prevent you from hiring me today? Oh, what is that? Okay, great. So if I answered blah, 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 would you then be ready to hire me, right? So if you know that they really want to, then you just have to keep going there. And again, that's something that could be uncomfortable for people like you and me, right? But you just have to keep going there, and you just have to ask for it. And you have to know that it's your job, right? This is the career that you've chosen. And if you're not ready, and I'm not saying you get out of the business, right? It's like you really have to have that look at yourself and go, look, this is something that's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, it is, right? If your kids ask you that question, I don't want to floss my teeth. I don't like it. It hurts. Who cares? Do it anyway, right? It'll get easier. You just have to do it anyway. It's kind of like, okay. But I think that, again, if you did an agenda, that may help, because you would just feel like, oh, this is the next natural thing. You may just feel like what's the transition? And I think that those kind of transitions are good to practice. And again, you can look up some scripts online. I have some of the stuff in there, is just asking them those questions again and again and again. So are you ready to get started, right? I was talking about, it's time to get to next steps. What are you thinking? What's our timing looking like? Excellent. Great. Well, I usually like to do DocuSign, so I'll just have my assistant send you the contract. Does that sound great? Who should I send it to? What's the email, right? And then I'm very bold. I bring that commission business up real quick. Again, to show that I'm not scared at it. Typically, I actually charge 5.5%. So yes, I do charge more than most of the realtors in my area, and don't worry, I will earn it. And that's my commitment to you, right? Is I actually get 107%. What that means is that you're paying me 5.5%. So you're actually going to make 1.5% more than you would if you just sold it on your own, right? And then when we have a lot of discount brokers. Do you guys have that too?
We have 1%.
Yeah.
What's confusing
really
though, they trick people into thinking that they're paying less,
Yeah.
but I mean, the co-op is still 2.5, sometimes 3. So it's like, so you're lying to them somewhere because they're still paying.
It's the
Yeah.
1 hour cleaners theory.
Yeah, and then, so on those, I'm real upfront. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, you want a discount? I could give you 10 people all day long, but honestly, why would you pay 4.5% for something? Yes, you're gonna pay more with me, but you're gonna get so much more. You should just sell it yourself otherwise, right? Then you pay nothing. But why would you just hire someone to post that up there? They don't do anything at all. So I definitely kind of throw that out there, which is so true. You know, and Ben Kinney has a really great script. He actually has like a stack of business cards, and it's like, okay, this is the commission. When that person is taken away, you know, this is what I spend on marketing. This is what I spend on my salary. This is what I spend on this. Do you think that discount person is going to be taking their money away from taking care of their family, or do you think they're going to take it away from marketing and their time? Right? Is kind of asking that question of where that goes to, right? But I think we really, again, have to just not be afraid. And honestly, that boldness of calling somebody, that's your freaking value, you guys, right? It's uncomfortable. Yep, I know it is, sir. How many people, you can ask him that question. How many hours do you spend lead generating to sell your house? What are you talking about? Yeah, how many buyers and agents are you calling every day so that you can sell your house? Well, I haven't called any. I put it on Zillow. Oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder why you didn't sell it in the last 3 months. Of course. Let me tell you what my job is. You know, I've just called you. This is what I do all day long. 10 hours a week is what I've committed. I have an accountability partner, and that's my job, is to make sure that it's sold for you. And again, you guys, you just keep hitting it again and again and again. It's that same thing, which is why the scripts are so valuable. It's like just going back to that guidepost and then kind of closing from there. But practice. And I have to work on that too, actually. So for me, it's like, now I have a team. I really do have a team. Holy moly. I have all these people I'm taking care of. I'm much better at taking care of them than I am of me, right?
How long have you had a team?
So I joined KW about 6 years ago, and I've always had some level of assistant, I suppose. And so I probably really started about 4 years ago, and I've done all the stuff wrong for a long time. And now I'm like, oh, you just follow the directions. Yeah. So now I'm finally getting it. Like, yeah, I have to keep them accountable. By the way, that's not easy either. It's like, are you making sure your buyer's agents are? No, I'm sure they're just going to do what they want. And I'm sure they work as hard as me, and, you know, they're busy and they're tired. Nope. I'm a professional, right? You join my team. It's not comfortable for me to hold you accountable. However, I'm not going to love you out of the business. And I've made a commitment to you to have to wear the boss costume every once in a while, and to make sure that your family gets fed every day, right? So it's my job. I'm going to hold you accountable. So we're going to have a discussion if you don't do it of what got in the way, right? And then you're going to have to tell me, are you going to change your goals, or are we going to change your activities, right? And that's really that same question for you over and over again. And you guys, there's so much great KW stuff. I mean, obviously some of this stuff is colored with me, and sorry that I've been here for so long, but, and you can tell I love what I do, and that certainly helps. But all of this is just KW classes, right? And you can definitely get better. Because again, I didn't want to take bold, and I'm like, there's no way I'm taking any stupid classes. And now I'm like, oh my God, there's a class for that. And you really can get better, and you should, right? I mean, it's easy to get a license. It's very difficult to become a professional, though. There's a big difference. And once you know that, and you kind of put yourself at that next level, I mean, none of the competition can beat you, by the way. It's just impossible. So for you have those few listings. I would go and have a really frank discussion with them. And just say, hey, I was just at a class today, and there's an agent that was here from California, and they have multiple offer situation all the time. And her expectation is that she's going to sell for more than any other agent can sell. And she taught me some great techniques, and I'd love to go over those with you. Can I pop by on Monday, or would Tuesday be better? Excellent, right? And then it's that conversation. And to be quite frank, if you'd like for me to go with you, if you do that on one of your houses while we're here, and if the person would let, and somebody would find value in us recording that, then we can do that too, because I think that there is an opportunity, and you have to give that value. Otherwise, that person was right. Why would you give money if you didn't bring something special, right? So let me know. You have my card.
Okay. Wait, what's that?
If y'all do it Tuesday afternoon, I'll go pro it.
Yeah, what makes you feel on that? One of my listings, I'm having trouble because the house is not that large. And I think she maybe has some bulky furniture in there. And like one is her dining room table that sits right in the middle. And like I've been struggling with telling her like, let's just get it out. But, cause I know that's probably where, that's an important place where your family eats and,
Sure. Sure. Then if a large dining room table is important to these buyers, then they're probably not going to choose her home, right? So what we need to find is the kind of buyer that is okay having a small dining room table, right? Because this is your room. So we have to sell that image to that buyer. This isn't about finding the right buyer for a house. It's making your house fit in, right? The first month was for, everybody's going to like it. Clearly we haven't sold. You guys that are online, sorry that we're going so long. So I hope we're okay. I think we lost half of them anyway, so. Does anyone have any questions over there? I guess not. Oh, that's really just Jill and Rhonda. Jill and Rhonda, any questions? They might have stepped out for call. Oh, and Lisa. I'm happy. Do you guys have any more questions?
It's good. We're enjoying listening.
Oh, good. Yeah, the participation is really helpful. You guys have been really amazing. It really makes such a difference. And again, if I was just standing up here teaching like the class, it would be really uncomfortable for me, and it certainly is fun. And I feel like I know you guys a little bit more, so which is really nice. So.
We learned a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, please come back.
Yay!
And I think sometimes you don't get information, you just get motivation of anything.
Yeah.
So.
My goal is to become the most inspiring agent in the world.
You're working yourself down.
Well, again, and a big part of it is, again, like I said, I'm a small town girl, and I actually was on a stage with Diana Kokoska about 1.5 years ago, and I was up there and I started crying, and I said, like I always felt like the least likely to succeed forever. And I literally would have given myself that label for a very long time. I didn't expect very much for myself. I didn't really know what I wanted forever. And I don't think I've ever really been good at anything until real estate, right? So, and I started at 30. I think I'm a pretty good mom. Actually, I was an au pair. I was a nanny for a while. I was good at that too, but it's hard to really make a real career, right? And get to that. And then it's just really neat because this is a really amazing career that no matter who you are, that's your value. Everybody needs houses and everybody needs somebody that they can connect with. And we teach these classes, actually, they're the command class that I was telling you about. And it's just really like inspiring people to try new things. And this guy was a new agent and he was like, I had a bad impression of real estate and I'm nervous about this. And I coached my team and I had a buyer's agent on my team and she had some preconceived notions because of the culture that she grew up in and all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, stop hiding from that and feeling bad about being new and being insecure and all of that. You guys, that's actually your value because all of these buyers are insecure. All of these sellers are insecure. So if you actually lead with who you really are as a person and say, look, sir, I don't know what I don't exactly know if this is my buyer for you, but what I can tell you is that I'm going to work harder for you than anybody else. I'm going to listen to your concerns more than anybody else. I know that there's a preconceived notion that realtors, right, are not useful. It's my job to make sure to change that for you because I don't just want your business. I want your business of your family. I want your business of your referral, right? I'm building a business here. I can't chase everybody down one after the next. So what I'm looking for is I need a raving fan. So I'm going to do such a good job for you that not only are you going to be happy to pay me what you originally said that you weren't going to, but that you're going to tell everybody else how valuable I am to you. Right? That's my commitment to you. I have to because I have something to prove, right? And having somebody who's working for you that has something to prove is about the most valuable thing that you could possibly have, right? So whatever it is that you have, like that's your value proposition because that's what they all have too, right? I get goosebumps. So thank you guys for coming. I would love to teach again because you guys have such good energy here. It's so fun. Yay!
have good food too.
Yeah, and then, but you guys do look at that problem presentation script because he's a little bit more eloquent than I am. And I do think that that's a great thing to use. And how do you feel about your appointment today? Do you feel?
I feel a lot more prepared.
Yeah.
As far as what I need to say and do and present.
And remember, jump up and down.
Yeah. And you got to do the clapping. Remember, I'm a bunny. I'm going to tell you in the brain council.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thanks you guys so much. Please, if you guys would text me or whatever, and you can follow me on Instagram, I would love to see. I don't have a whole lot of room on Facebook for friends because I'm almost capped out on that kind of stuff. And then the other thing is that I have a great friend. Her name's Erin, and we are doing a mastermind at 9:30. It'll be 11:30 here. every single Friday, and we have people from France and the UK that participate with us. We're just starting this actually. So it's great for masterminding and networking, and we're really talking about lead generation and just different ideas, right? And so I love what I do. I have to say I'm good at selling houses. I haven't always been good at marketing myself, so that's really what we're doing is we're learning together. So I'd love for you guys to join us. It'll be on Zoom. So we have a Zoom link. So if you message me or email me, I'll make sure that my assistant gets that to you. And I can show you some of the other videos. I'll send you those videos.
You should start your own podcast.
To be honest,
I've been listening to those a lot lately.
We have two. I'm expecting two of those to come. So Erin from New York and then another agent from the UK. We're going to start doing an MREA podcast where we're going to interview people from probably super megas from around the world. I'm doing something called Red Talks where it's a little bit more. I like the unique stuff. I want where people can connect. So I'll be having that. It'll be coming out this year. And then I have an agent in France and he wants to do a Monday morning motivation that we'll do. So if you guys message me, I'll make sure that you guys see all of those things because I have found that I like all of this stuff. And again, it's amazing that when you put yourself out there, you guys should all do it as well. And just because I'm doing it doesn't mean you can't. It's amazing how many referrals will come back when you start putting that out there. So because every one of you has something that's special to offer. And when you find that and you share it, it's just tremendous how that works out, you guys. So anyway, thank you. I know if it wasn't COVID, I'd hug you all. Bye. Thank you so much.
Where's your coffee shop?
On Main Street is the coffee break across from the church. This was in 95.
Oh.
So which part do you
Do you?
Yeah.
I used to run the Daiquiri shop on Jackson.
Okay, Jackson.
Across from Sydney, Georgia.
So I worked at the daiquiri shop. I don't even remember the streets.
So that was it. It was Daiquiri's Delight across. It was Sydney, George Jewel across West 3rd, and then it was like on the corner across from the Foundry.
Okay, I don't remember that. Gosh, it's been a long time. I know, right? I kept your class for a lot longer. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. What part of Dulard were you from?
Rocky Road.
Rocky Road.
Okay,
I want to come visit you in California.
Come on out.
I'll